And I was like, oh, beautiful. So I'm strumming it. And he goes, yeah, that guitar, that was Johnny Cash's.
I want to know about your experience at the Warehouse Studio. And you could tell me, of course, who did you meet at the Warehouse Studio?
Well, it's owned by a guy named Bryan Adams. Maybe you've heard of him. He's done a couple things around the world for a few decades. Anyways, we were out there as a part of a program called Top of the Country, put on by SiriusXM and the Canadian Country Music Association. They choose 8 artists every year and basically have 2 recording sessions, either Toronto or Vancouver. You get to take out your band, your producers, and you get to record a song, film a video, and then they put all these songs head to head for a voting competition for the fans to vote. And then they pick a top 3 from there. So we were chosen to be one of the semifinalists in 2022. And that was right around the time my record was coming out as well. So it was a whirlwind of things happening. And so we flew out the band, flew my producers out, and got to record at the Warehouse, which was just a phenomenal experience. It's such a vibe in that place. I remember walking out into the kitchen and I heard guitars being played upstairs. So I'd asked Nicole from SiriusXM, who was there, I said, is someone else recording upstairs? And she was like, oh, that's just Brian playing guitar. And I was like, oh, just Brian playing guitar. Like, Bryan Adams is actually here? What? And so we finished the recording session, walked back out of the studio into the kitchen again. And I remember looking up the stairs because I hear this noise coming around the stairs. And I look up and there's like a shining light and there's Bryan Adams walking down the stairs towards me. He walks up and he's like, hey, I'm Brian. Sticks his hand out as if I didn't know who he was. And it's like, hey, how's it going? I'm Devin. And he was like, you're part of SiriusXM's Top of the Country that's here, right? I was like, yep. And then he was just like, how's everything going? Is it good? Oh, it's fantastic. Like, literally no complaints. We're in a world-class studio. I'm standing here talking to Bryan Adams, and I have all my favorite people in the world with me making music. Literally doesn't get better than that. So he says, are you going to be here for a little bit? And we were actually just on our way out. But I was like, oh, yeah, we're going to be here for a little bit. Because I had no idea what was coming, and I just said that. And he said, well, I'm going to go across the street. I'm going to get a coffee, and then I'll come back. I'd love to give you guys a tour of the studio and show you around. So he comes back from his coffee, and we went upstairs into his private studio that he has, and he showed us all the stuff he was working on. He looks over at me and goes, hey, you're a guitar player, right? I go, yep. And he picks up a guitar and hands it to me, and it was a old 50s Martin. I now know it's a 1955 Martin D18. And I was like, oh, beautiful. So I'm strumming it. And he goes, yeah, that guitar, that was Johnny Cash's. What? Like, how does that even happen? I'm like, how does it get better than it's already, like, how does it just keep getting better? And so I played the like intro lick to Folsom Prison Blues on it because I had to. And then very gently handed it back to him and